Okay, welcome. So we are talking about flexible thinking. Now, the last few weeks, we've been really focused on how worry and anxiety can impact us and how we can cope with those feelings. And we talked a lot about negative thinking and how negative thinking can make us feel worried and anxious. So what we're going to be learning about now is how flexible thinking can help us to avoid some problems and to feel more calm. So what is flexible thinking? Well, it's thinking about any situation in more than one way. And why is it important? It can help us make reasonable inferences and avoid some problems. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to avoid every problem, but flexible thinking can help avoid many of them. How can I be a flexible thinker? All right, so let's picture this scenario. You have your homework on your desk, and you walk away to get a quick drink, but when you come back to your desk, your homework's gone. What could have happened? All right, so step one is get calm. Because when you first see that your homework is missing, you might feel very worried. We talked a lot in our class this year about the parts of the brain and that one part called the amygdala that kind of lights up when our body feels stress, right? And it can make us act without thinking. So in order to clear our minds and get our brain using the prefrontal cortex, we need to take a deep breath. Clear your head and then move to step two, which is stop and think. Wait to make a judgment until after you've considered the options. Well, what could the options be here? Maybe you dropped your homework. Maybe the teacher collected it. Maybe somebody took it and is playing a joke on you. There's a lot of things that we could think, right? So that's why we need to look for clues and think about what we might be missing. One way that we could look for a clue here is look at the other desks. Do any of the other kids have their homework on the desk? If not, then it probably means the teacher collected it. Or look on the floor. Is it just right under our feet? Or look around. Are a bunch of kids laughing and pointing? If so, then maybe someone did take it as a joke. So we're going to need those clues to help us figure out what to do. When we use flexible thinking, we can kind of see the big picture, right? So in this case, let's imagine that we look around and we notice that all the papers are gone off of everyone's desk. Okay, great. So maybe we lean over the person next to us and we say, hey, did Mrs. Jakubik take all the papers? And they'll say, yeah, she collected it while you're getting a drink. Whew. No big deal. Not a problem. But what if you hadn't looked at the clues? What if you decided that your friend must have taken your paper as a joke? And so right away you get really upset because you're certain that that's what happened. And you yell at them and you take something of his to get back at him. And then a few minutes later, you find out that the teacher collected it. You see how you created kind of a big problem? Now you are upset over something that didn't happen. And also, you probably made your friend really upset with you too. So that's where we talk about where flexible thinking can help us to avoid problems, right? When we stop and think about all the possibilities, we have a chance to make the right choices. So in your assignment today, you're going to be looking at some different scenarios. And in each one, I want you to come up with at least two, but bonus points for more, ways or things that could be happening. So some of the things that you come up with might be negative thinking, and that's okay. For example, in this scenario, we thought, oh, what if someone took it as a joke, right? That's kind of negative thinking. But I'm going to challenge you that you also need to come up with at least one more reasonable and positive explanation. Now, sometimes your negative thinking is right? I mean, we know maybe somebody would take your paper as a joke. It could happen. So that's why it's really important that you look at your clues, figure it out, and then go from there. All right.